It is finally election day and we have teams spread across. It is finally election day and we have teams spread across the state to cover it all. We have more than 20 reporters around Missouri ready to bring you live and updated information from candidate and issue watch parties throughout the night. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Jim Reek. Thanks for joining us. We begin with the U.S. Senate race. Incumbent Roy Blunt trying to hold off current Secretary of State Jason Kander.
Kander is currently in Kansas City. He was visiting polling places today. KOMU 8's Lee Yang joins us live from his watch party. Lee?
Kander has been active on Twitter all day, tweeting about his day's activity. He began his final campaign drive today across the state in St. Louis, visiting multiple polling locations, including one in Ferguson. He voted in Columbia, where he ran into Democratic gubernatorial candidate Chris Koster. Kander, the Democratic Secretary of State, is facing off against incumbent Senator Roy Blunt in what has been a surprisingly tight U.S. Senate race. Kander, his wife Diana, his son, 3-year-old son True, and his supporters are expected to arrive here at around 7 after the polls are closed. Reporting live from Kansas City, Lee Yang, KOMU 8 News.
From Kander's story in Kansas City to a trip to Southwest Missouri and the incumbent story, KOMU 8's Adam Pressler is live in Springfield to tell us what's happening at Roy Blunt's watch party.
So very closely watched.
Jim and Brittany, I am here at the Oasis Convention Center in Springfield at the Roy Blunt Watch Party. Now, as you said before, he is the incumbent congressional senator for the state of Missouri, and he's running against current Secretary of State Jason Kander. Now, if you look behind me, you can see that the first few people are starting to enter the room and take their seats. And we were able to talk to officials from the Blunt organization, and they say that they expect a huge crowd here tonight and that they are looking forward to it. Now make sure to stay tuned because we will be here at the watch party keeping you updated. Reporting live in Springfield, Adam Pressler, KOMU 8 News.
We also have a team in Chesterfield, just outside of St. Louis. KOMU 8's Max Dieknight is live there where gubernatorial candidate Eric Greitens is holding his watch party. So Max, what can you tell us?
I'm live here in Chesterfield where Eric Greitens' team is getting ready for the results to pour in here from one of the closest races in the nation. It's been a historic election season. We were here less than 3 months ago for Mr. Greitens' run through the primaries where he had a very close race that he ended up coming out victorious in. It was a very similar situation. In August, polls also showed a tight race, but Mr. Greitens ended up winning that one very easily. Greitens, who does not shy away from his label as an outsider, has run a grassroots conservative campaign, and it's been somewhat successful of late as the polls have gotten even closer. Eric is set to arrive here soon, and more than 300 people are expected to pile in here at the Doubletree Hotel here in Chesterfield in a few hours. Reporting live in Chesterfield, Max Dieknight, KOMU 8 News.
Of course, his opponent is Chris Koster, who has been Missouri's Attorney General for the past 8 years, and before that, a Missouri senator from western Missouri. He was a Republican originally. KOMU 8's Allison Ross is live at the Koster headquarters, also in the St. Louis area, with a look around.
I'm live at the Chase Park Plaza here in St. Louis. This is where Chris Koster's event will be taking place in just about an hour at 7 o'clock. I spoke with a spokeswoman for the Missouri Democratic Party, Christina Sosani. She says that they chose this hotel for its capacity. They're expecting hundreds of people here later tonight. Volunteers were invited to this, and as well as the public. It is open to the public starting at 7. 7 o'clock is also when those polls close, so if you haven't voted yet, you still have about an hour. Chris Koster made a surprise appearance here just 40 minutes ago, and he is expected to be back here around 7 o'clock. Follow KOMU 8 News on Twitter, and we'll keep you updated with the latest information. Reporting live in St. Louis, Allison Ross, KOMU 8 News.
Today's not just a big day for candidates, it's also a big day for people heading to the polls for the first time to vote ever. KOMU 8's Desiree Evans met some first-time voters and is here to tell us why they felt they needed to get out to the polls.
A lot of the first-time voters I spoke with say their expectations were a lot different from their reality. Some of the first-time voters say they expected lines to be out the door and for the process to take hours, but it only took a few minutes. Others say they went in feeling confident, and when it actually came time to vote, they became very nervous. One voter I spoke with says even though the process may be different from what you expect, what matters is getting to the polls.
I think every little vote matters, and especially if there's like a certain person you don't want to win, not voting at all is still a vote for the other person to win. So if you can vote, get out and vote.
I also spoke with the election judge at Memorial Union on MU's campus. He says he was pleased and excited to see both old and new voters at the polls.
There are voter delays in Boone County, and it wasn't necessarily because of long lines. KOMU 8's Chris Green joins us in the newsroom to tell us what seems to be the problem.
It's the most common issue in every election, voters failing to change their addresses in time. I talked to one Columbia resident who said she changed her address on the last day to do so, but she was still not able to vote on right away this morning. Boone County Clerk Wendy Noren says her address change was received days later because it wasn't filed before the 5 o'clock deadline. Many people are dealing with similar situations today, and Noren says her office is working extra hard to fix them.
I've got additional 44 people out at our polling places that get the most change of addresses. They're out there so the calls don't come in here, so they can handle some of the change of addresses also. So we have an additional 60 people handling change of addresses today than we normally do.
Noren told me changing an address on election day causes problems for the phone lines and for other voters at the polling place, but she believes the workers are doing a good job solving the problems. In the newsroom, Chris Green, KOMU 8 News.
Kansas City is a busy place for election watch parties tonight. Raise Your Hand for Kids is hosting an Amendment 3 watch party just 3 miles from Jason Kander's watch party. KOMU 8's Laura Barczewski is live to tell us what we can expect from that event.
I'm live here at Uptown Theater, and I'm just about to head over to the Raise Your Hand for Kids watch party at the Grand Hall at Power and Light. The event is mainly for supporters of Amendment 3, also known as one of the tobacco tax increases on the ballot today. About 80 people have RSVP'd to the event and are coming from all over Missouri to be here in Kansas City tonight. Some people are confident Amendment 3 will pass, but others think it doesn't have a chance. I'll have an update on that watch party at 10. Reporting live in Kansas City, Laura Barczewski, KOMU 8 News.
We saw some rain earlier on this election day. Let's send it over to Kenton to see what the weather will be like later this evening.
Brittany, thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. We did see some rain on Election Day morning, as was expected here, but our live Doppler First Alert radar just scanning clear skies now at this point, and temperatures are starting to cool off as well. We're still in the middle 50s, though, for most of us. 56 in Paris and Mexico, 55 in Moberly, Columbia at 55, 62 at the Capitol, and 58 at Lynn, Sedalia, and Marshall, both over at 57 as well, and at Booneville. Winds just from the north about 5 to 10 miles an hour. They're going to stay right around this here for the rest of our evening, and temperatures will continue to cool down for a chilly night, but it's actually going to be very seasonal. We're just not quite used to that quite yet. 50 degrees, though, by 10 p.m. down into the 40s by midnight. Clearing skies here as well. And heading into the next 2 days, we're going to be in the lower 60s. Again, really much more seasonal. 58 is about our average high temperature this time of the year. With a lot of sunshine here on our Wednesday. Then on Thursday, we're up to 65, just a bit warmer. I'll track our next 8 days. Look ahead to the weekend coming up right after the break.
Kenton, thanks. You may spend an hour at the polls. They spend 13 hours there. Their story's coming up.